stories. My name is Bob, and this fellow over here, his name is Doug, and we tell stories of behind-the-scene fire station stuff, as well as people that work in the fire station. And we have a special one here today with us, Brian. Tell us a few stories. So what do you got to tell us today, Brian?
Well, I'm going to take you back to Fire Hall number 9. Okay. I mean, we were like a pack of wild dogs at one point there. I'm certain that we gave our officers their head of gray hair.
Did you have Marty Nygaard there?
He was there on the other shift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember hearing about the time they threw one of the mannequins off the roof.
That was one of our stories.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the only thing that was kept up on the roof.
So it wasn't just the one squad that was a pack of wild dogs.
No. Again, this was a hall that attracted keeners, and those guys tended to blow off some steam when they weren't working, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you knew that the other guys were hot and needed to cool down, so we always kept a bucket of water on the roof, just in case there was an opportunity to dump it on somebody.
That was clever. I wish I'd have known that back in the day.
We left it up leaning against the chimney. It was just always ready to go. So we came up with a plan. The training division was right next door. And the guys that worked there, they were all smokers. And they would leave out the back door by the outdoor showers. And they'd huddle where the public couldn't see them. And they'd have their cigarettes out there. So our plan was, one of the guys, sort of the most junior of all the guys in the training division, he was a good friend of ours, and he'd always come over for breakfast and stuff. We were going to hit him, Larry. And the plan was, because you can't see from the roof, we didn't want to get anybody else wet, I was going to go out back and stand directly in front of Larry, and then Dunk was going to run down the roof with the bucket of water and dump it wherever I was standing. He was trusting me to be in the right spot.
In the right spot.
So I get out back. It wasn't hard to get them out there smoking because they were out there all the time. But what we didn't plan for, this was one of those best laid plans of mice and men. There was a pine tree forest, like just a small little thing there. And Larry was snuggled in against the wall in front of one of the pine trees. And if I had walked in front of him, it would have been like this.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to work. So I'm standing there and I see Dunk grab it was an L-shaped building. I see him over there, grab the bucket of water by the chimney, and he's running. He's coming fast. He's running along the ridge of the roof, and he's looking for me with the bucket in his hands, and I realize I'm standing directly in front of the director of training.
who wouldn't appreciate a shower.
He would not have liked that at all. And so I realize I got to make my move now. So I start pushing into the pine trees like this, and they're looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy? And I'm trying to get in at the last minute, I push right into the middle of the pine, standing in the pine tree in front of Larry. Dunk does a quick right-hand turn at the last minute, and it was a direct hit. His cigarette was hanging there all soggy. And
that was something. I'll remember one time I was on watch downtown, and Doug and another fellow were in the watch office, and we were sitting there shooting the shit and telling some lies. And this pretty redheaded girl came by with tight bicycling outfit on, I mean, we're talking in the 70s or 80s here, and oh my God, and she had something wrong with her bicycle. The chain was off, right? So first thing Doug and the other guy we'll come out and help you, right? So
public relations.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, and we were all for that, weren't we? Right? So I thought, well, those, what hounds. So I ran upstairs and I got a 5-gallon bucket of water and lugged it up onto the roof because we weren't smart enough to leave one up there. Right? No. And I went over to the edge, and the problem was, remember there was a roof about 4 feet or 5 feet wide. So it was about 4 feet down. You had to jump down onto this other little parapet that was on the top in order to look over. So I left the bucket up and I jumped down. I walked over to the edge, and there's Doug, and she's standing behind, just behind him, and Doug and the other guy are sitting there fixing her bicycle and trying to impress the snot out of her, really, which I don't know if they were doing or not, but she was getting her bicycle fixed, so she was quite happy with the whole situation. But as I was climbing down, there's some cars, there's a traffic light there, and we're downtown, right? And there's a bunch of guys in the car in the traffic light, and they came up and they stopped right up above, and I could see them all looking out the window, right? And then another car came in behind. You know, that's how long it took me to get set up, right? So they knew it was happening, right? So anyways, they're down, boom, and they got soaked, and luckily they were finished. So
You got to remember, back in those days, I had hair, and I had it spiked, and I really taken pride in my spiked hair. And I was really impressing the hell out of this girl. She really had the hots for me because she liked the spiked hair.
well, and not only that, but they all had the hots for
The
you.
spikes were gone. They were flat. It was worse than the barbecue.
Doug used to like spikes because when his hair started to thin, because he could thicken it up with finishing nails, and those are the only ones that were still sticking out.
My first month on the job, they got me wet every single day, and my shoes developed a permanent squeak.
Wonderful.
That, you know what? It was the advent of cell phones that ended all the water gags.
Yes,
Because
yes.
all of a sudden, everybody had a computer in their
Yeah,
pocket.
yeah. It's, I
Oh, don't
never
get me
thought
wet.
of
I
that.
got a
Yeah,
phone.
yeah. So you got another one for us today?
Yeah. Well, have we got time? Where we
Yeah,
at?
we got time.
All right. Well, again, same station. This event became known as Black Tuesday. So the gags had gone too far.
That's thunder.
They had gone too far, and the senior captain was a serious man, and he was never part of any of these gags. He was always, if he wasn't firefighting, he was writing a book about firefighting, like he was writing textbooks.
Real
on that.
keener guy.
Yeah,
always had been.
and a lot of respect for him.
Always had been too.
Yeah, always from the time he was a fire. Yeah.
So he had had enough. He was worried that somebody was going to get hurt because you couldn't go to the bathroom without getting a bucket of water over the bathroom stall and a cup of flour on top of that. The old tar and feather. So he called it. He said, no more. And you'd think that that would be enough. But there's always one galoot in the back. It wasn't him, but you can always tell a galoot because they go too far and you can't hurt them physically.
No.
You have to go for the emotions.
Feelings. Yeah.
Like maybe that your hair isn't as spiky as it used to be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
So this one night,
Who
after,
invited this guy?
I'm not sure, Doug.
see, and it's true. He's a galoot.
Yeah.
Well, this other galoot had decided he wasn't going to give up the gags, and he went to the store and bought some Kool-Aid, purple Kool-Aid. And the idea was that you'd put it on the guy's pillows, so when they came back from an alarm and they're still kind of sweaty, they're going to roll around, and their face will turn purple. So they did everybody's pillows except for the senior captain, who was very clear he did not want any jokes in the fire station. So somehow they figured they could get away with this without him knowing. And it was about midnight or so, and I'm sitting at the computer doing something, and he came in and he said, "You better check your pillow. The guys are messing around." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks for the tip. That's awesome." So I waltz in there, and sure enough, they had put the Kool-Aid on my pillow. But what had happened was the other captain, who was an acting captain that night, was good friends with this senior captain. They had a business on the side together, and he thought we were a bunch of chickens for not putting any on the senior captain's pillow.
Sure.
So he took his sheets and he shook them
Oh, no.
onto the other guy's bed. Of course, he found out, and he lost it.
The captain.
The captain did. He said, "That's it. Nobody's sleeping tonight. You're all up. I'm putting on the coffee." That was I'm putting on the coffee. Now, for the first half hour, it was pretty funny. We thought this was just a big joke. And one of the guys he was in his underwear. He pulled it up like a thong, and he's dancing around because it's a party. I can't believe this is so much fun, kind of thing. Well, then it wasn't so much fun. We tried to go to sleep and turn the lights out, and he turned the emergency lights on. Which there's no switch for that in the dorm. You have to go to the captain's office to reset those.
Reset lights.
So we're smarter than that. We took the light bulbs out of the emergency lights. Well, then he prop a radio up against the PA, and he's playing music, and he's banging pots all night long. And I'm not kidding. I felt like I was in Waco, Texas, with the FBI surrounding the fire station with the lights shining in. And at one point, I took my mattress and I put it down under the stairwell in the basement to try to get some shut-eye.
Yeah.
And I was driving, so I was worried that I'd have a call and I'd be rattled.
Yeah.
And he'd follow me down there, banging the pots. "I know you're down here, Brian, and you're not going to bed either." I mean, "It wasn't me." He says, "It's all of you guys," and everybody's yelling at each other. It was terrible. And sure enough, everybody at one point or another went to him and said, okay, I get it, sorry, but that wasn't enough. But then finally, the acting captain that he worked with went to him and said, look, it's 5:30, and you know I've got this thing today with our business. I'd like to get 1 hour of quiet. And he agreed. So we all do our thing, and we get about an hour of rest from, nobody slept, but you got a little bit of rest. And when we got up for coffee before the next shift, they were all coming in, and they could tell something had happened because we weren't our normal, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's ready to kill the guy beside them.
And
right?
you're orange.
Yeah. And the senior captain made the comment. He said, well, you're lucky. I was going to keep you up all night, but thanks to the acting captain tonight, I let you guys have an hour of quiet. And we're all thinking, thanks to the acting captain, we were up all night. It was him who did it in the first place. But nobody threw him under the bus. It was a while later when the news came out who actually caused this whole mess. But
That's funny.
Well, that was good stories, Bri, and thanks for coming in and sharing them with us today.
thanks for having me.
It's great. If anybody else liked it as much as we did, please press the like button. We post every Friday, and if you'd like us to come to your mailbox automatically without having to come looking for us, press the follow, and we'll be there every Friday for you. So thank you, and goodbye.